Football in December here in Florida. It's 79 degrees. It is very humid today here in Tampa. Forecast called for partly cloudy skies the rest of the afternoon. Raheem Morris, first year as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, actually has a connection to the Jets. Chance to intern with the Jets back when Herm Edwards was the head coach and Ted Cottrell was running the defense. And Morris out of Hofstra University. Jay Feely, a Tampa native, will kick it off for the Jets. Tampa Bay has won the toss. Yamon Figures and Ernest Graham are deep. Sammy Straughter, their normal return man, is out with a lower back injury, and Clifton Smith is done for the year after suffering his second concussion. We're underway here in Tampa. The Jets trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Yamon Figures, the former Raven. And Figures is cut down. So they open up with a 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Stovall and Bryant, the wideouts, are going to throw it on first down. Freeman, and intercepted. Picked off by David Harris on the first play from scrimmage. A spillover from last week.
Yeah, nothing funny about that. You know, he never looked out in front of the throws. We studied the tape this week. This is one of the reoccurring themes. He's never going to feel Harris right there in the middle of your screen. He's so locked into the receiver crossing the formation. Look at Harris. He's sitting there the whole way, keying on the crossing route, and the quarterback, Josh Freeman, he never even sees out in front of the throw. That's really a rookie mistake, and this is something that's been causing these guys problems the last couple weeks. You got to find a way to settle him down in the game early. I'm surprised they came out throwing the ball first play from scrimmage.
So the Jets take over, a 1st and 10 at the 31. They're playing with 6 offensive linemen. Wayne Hunter, the extra offensive lineman up front, on a pitch for Thomas Jones. And Jones trying to turn the corner. He's met by Barrett Rue, the leading tackler for the Buccaneers. It's a 2-yard gain for Jones, over 1,000 yards for the 5th consecutive season. Clemens individually, his contract's up at the end of the year. He's still trying to prove to talent evaluators around the NFL that he can be a starting quarterback in this league. On a 2nd and 8, 3 receivers set. Inside handoff for Thomas Jones, who slices his way just short of the 25-yard line. A 4-yard pickup. Danny Woodhead is set up as a running back. And Clemens working out of the gun on a 3rd and 4. 3 receivers in this formation. Now Clemens will go to the line. Handoff. And it's Woodhead, keeps the legs churning, but comes up short. Styles G. White, first man to greet him. Woodhead is in his 2nd year from Chadron State, Division II player, as the Jets made a change there, and they don't get the first down. Field goal unit comes on.
That's a good job by the Bucs defense, particularly Rondé Barber. They showed some different looks, fooled Kellen Clemens. He wound up audible there to the run. The Bucs do a good job forcing him to kick the field goal.
Now, Kellen Clemens, who's normally the holder, will keep that job, despite the fact that he's the starting quarterback today for Mark Sanchez. Jay Feely on for a 40-yard field goal attempt. Born and raised in Tampa, Jay Feely puts the Jets on the board. David Harris, in his 3rd year from Michigan, has really turned into a do-it-all linebacker. Last week, Harris had a sack, 11 tackles, a forced fumble in a 19-13 win over Buffalo. He's got an interception to start things off here this afternoon. Jets have a 3-0 lead over Tampa Bay, 12:40 to play in the 1st quarter. Feely will kick it off. Figures and Graham are deep. And Figures will range over and catch it at the 9. Working the perimeter, and he is spun down as he crossed the 25-yard line by Eric Smith. Derek Ward at the tailback position, who was actually a 7th-round pick of the Jets back in 2004. Double tight end set, Winslow and Gilmore. And a handoff, it's Cadillac Williams, and he is buried. No gain on the play. Bart Scott, first man to greet him.
Yeah, you're just going to watch here. They run the power to the weak side. Look at Harris. He's right there in the back. I mean, Bart Scott, they're doing a good job early in this game, really putting some pressure on this offense. It's beside me how they started this game, right? I can't imagine that Josh Freeman, started the game with a pick. Just the play calling on that first play after a guy coming off 5 interceptions from a week ago. Very good.
Freeman couldn't handle the snap initially, so that wasn't clean, and the play never gets going. What a rough start for this Tampa Bay offense. Offensive coordinator Greg Olson, formerly with St. Louis and Detroit.
Yeah, look at him spread his hands right there at the snap. You can't put that on Jeff Fain. You put that on the rookie quarterback. And boy, you got to find a way to settle him down early in this game. He's jumpy. He throws the interception on the first play. They get a bad run on the first play of this series, and then, of course, he comes up and fumbles it. Now you put yourself in a 3rd and long against a defense that likes to press you in this situation.
Nickel package here for the Jets, and this is what we talked about. Rex Ryan on 3rd down. What are they going to do for Freeman? Freeman throwing to the sideline and incomplete. Brian Clark could not haul it in cleanly. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will punt on a 3-and-out.
Yeah, all they do is just going to throw the ball in the flat and nothing downfield. Again, pressure packages and 3rd and long situations, a common theme when you play the Jets. They have to make sure they have protection for their young quarterback, Josh Freeman.
Sam Pelescu, 2nd year out of Oregon State. He's been with Denver, Dallas, and Washington, averaging 46 yards per punt. Jericho Cotchery is the deep return man. Moves forward, slowed down to the 28 and stays on his feet. Cotchery able to advance it out across the 35-yard line, a 47-yard punt. Jets have won 2 in a row after suffering through a 3-game losing streak. They enter action today, 1 game behind New England in the AFC East. They've got a 3-0 lead on Tampa Bay. Jets football at the 36-yard line. 2 tight ends, Keller and Hartzog, set up the screen. Jones makes a cut, and he's got nowhere to go. Chris Hovan, the 10-year veteran, he's got that high motor, was all over it. And because of the running game of the Jets, we'll see Tanar Jackson pressing the line quite a bit. Jimmy Wilkerson makes that play after the 2-yard gain by Thomas Jones. And now the Jets face a 3rd and long with 10:25 and counting left in this first quarter.
You know, with Kellen Clemens starting in place of Sanchez, I don't think you're going to really see much change in terms of the game plan and what they want to do under Brian Schottenheimer. I mean, this is a team that's committed to running the football regardless of who lines up at quarterback.
Well, again, they're using Danny Woodhead in the backfield. He's got a wide receiver number, but he's a former running back. Where's number 83? 4 receivers set. Clemens to throw. Pump. And the check down is to Woodhead. Bangs his way to the 40. The ball popped loose. Play was already whistled dead. They come up well short of a 1st down as Adam Hayward with the stick. And the Jets go 3-and-out after the 3-yard gain.
You know, the thing you see when you look at the Bucs defense, I think they're playing better the last couple weeks since they've made the change back to playing their Tampa 2 style of defense under Raheem Morris. They got rid of Jim Bates a couple weeks ago. I get the sense when you visit with the players, they're much more comfortable in this scheme.
Punter Steve Weatherford now on the field. And they've had a couple of fakes this year. They fake it right now. Brad Smith able to make the connection for a 1st down. He hits Eric Smith, a safety. So the Jets go to the gadget play for 23 yards, and this drive continues.
Boy, I tell you what, they've done a bunch of them this year, and that's a gutsy call. But just keep an eye right there on the right side of your screen, right here. You're going to see Eric Smith. Tampa Bay has no answer for him. He just sneaks out. They flip the ball right over, and he's off and running. But what a gutsy call in that situation.
So we've seen it on 3 occasions prior to this one. Weatherford never even touched it. Brad Smith, who was up near the line of scrimmage, a former college quarterback, gets it done. And now Clemens dials up a deep ball. Looking end zone. Knocked up in the air. And incomplete. Braylon Edwards in a matchup.
Brad Smith, he gives you so much flexibility back there as the personal protector.
Smith, multi-dimensional, 4th-year wideout from Missouri. Sean Green, the rookie from Iowa, getting the call. And Green diving forward as Matt McCoy is there to meet him. A 3-yard gain. Driving the bus. 3rd and 7. Clemens throwing and complete. David Clowney, and he's down right at the marker. That does not look like a favorable spot initially as he's hit by Talib, now in his 2nd year out of Kansas. Very close to a 1st down.
Boy, if he would have gotten David Clowney the ball earlier, you know, Kellen Clemens was late there, very indecisive reading that out. But boy, if he would have gotten David Clowney the ball, he could have made a big run there. He had opportunity, just late with the throw.
Yeah, Jets fans have heard about this color-coded system that Rex Ryan has been working with the rookie Mark Sanchez, red, yellow, green, depending upon what kind of play they're calling or what kind of situation they're in. They're going to come up short of the 1st down.
And he'll go for it here.
We asked Rex about the color-coded system. Will it stay in play with Kellen Clemens? And Rex said, well, he may not think it's in play, but it's in play.
Yeah, look at him. He's open right here. Give it to him. Give it to him earlier. he waited so long, Clowney wound up working all the way across the formation, actually ran into a Buck defender, but that just comes with anticipation and comes with reps in the system, something you'd think that a guy like Kellen Clemens, who's been a 4-year guy in this system under Brian Schottenheimer, would know.
And on that color-coded green, of course, go for it, big play. Yellow, proceed with caution. Red, do not make a mistake based on the situation. 4th and inches, double tight end set, and Clemens has got the first down. So a new set of downs for the Jets to work with as they inch closer to the 20-yard line. How about Rex Ryan? We had a chance to sit down with him. Your impressions of him in his first year as a head coach? It's a transition from defensive coordinator to being the head man.
And I think he's done a fine job. I got the sense when we visited with him last night that he was not going to play this game close to the vest. He was going to come out and attack in every phase of the game. We already saw it with the big play on defense. We saw the fake punt. He's going for it on 4th down. I like this thinking. He said, my blueprint and vision for this team is starting to come around. He likes the way the defense is playing, and most importantly, he likes the way they're running the football on offense.
On a 1st and 10 from the 23. Clemens on a give for Green. Sean Green spins his way just inside the 20. That's a 4-yard gain for Green, who leads all NFL rookie running backs with a 4.8 yard per carry average.
And the thing I like about this Jets offense, when you break them down, teams know, defenses know they're going to come out and run the ball, and yet they still do it. And I just like their sense of urgency as it comes to running the football. They have 2 good backs in Jones and Green, and they're willing to give these guys plenty of opportunities during the course of the game.
And Brad Smith has checked in at quarterback, working from the gun. An option run here for Smith, and he keeps it himself. First down, Smith, as he's banged out of bounds inside the 10. He had Woodhead behind him in the backfield, and Brad Smith able to slither his way for a 12-yard gain.
Yeah, the old option. Look how patient he is with it. He's ready. He's got the ball in both hands, ready to pitch it. Does a nice job turning upfield. Good pitch relationship between him and Woodhead. Look at this. The defense, this is not something they see a lot, not something they would have repped during practice this week.
Well, Aqib Talib just got faked out of his shoes on a 1st and goal from the 7. Jones in the backfield. Jets trying to add to their lead. Handoff for Jones, stutter step, and thrown down by Rondé Barber. 5-time Pro Bowler and a physical corner, limiting Jones to a 1-yard gain.
And this is something that they're going to have to navigate. You're going to see a number of extra defenders up around the line of scrimmage. No sooner does Thomas Jones get the ball than he's dealing with Tenard Jackson, Rondé Barber in the backfield. You're going to have to do some things formationally with some motions to get some hats on those safeties who were anxious to get down there and stop the run.
And those 2 former teammates, Jones played with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers early in his career after Arizona. Coming up on 5 minutes to go in this first quarter. On a 2nd and goal, Clemens fakes the handoff, floater up top, too high for Cotchery.
Boy, I love the call. I love the play design. You just got to hit him. I mean, this is a good action here. They get him frozen. Look at this. Cotchery, he's wide open in the back of the end zone. Kellen Clemens lets this ball sail on him. Boy, you got to, when they're that open in this league, you got to hit them.
You know, we asked Clemens, where has the improvement come? You don't get a lot of reps. He said, specifically, I believe my accuracy is better, my footwork is better. We just didn't see it on that throw.
No, I got to see it. He's completing around 52% of his throws in his career. That's not good enough. That's one area where he must improve.
3rd and goal here for the Jets, trying to punch it in from the gun. Clemens, fade route up top, and broken up. He was looking for Brad Smith. Albert Mack ranged over to make the play defensively, and the Jets have to settle for a short field goal attempt.
Well, you can say what you want about this Bucs defense, but they have played much better here the last couple weeks. They've been put in some bad situations here on the first 2 drives. They're able to come up and hold the Jets to field goals on both.
Sabby Piscatelli helping out defensively at safety, and Jay Feely on for a 24-yard attempt. James Dirth, the snapper. Jets trying to take a 6-0 lead here in the first. And Feely nails it. High atop Raymond James Stadium, 65,890. Opened back in September of 1998. The Jets with a long drive but have to settle for a field goal. at a 6-0 lead with 4:47 to go in this first quarter. Feely kicking off. Figures, decides not to catch it. Ernest Graham does. Graham cutting it to the outside and trampled down. Buccaneers interaction today, 27th in the NFL in total offense, 291 yards per game. We're yet to see them sustain anything. An early pick by Freeman, then a 3-and-out. And a 1st and 10 now with a handoff to Derek Ward, streaking through the hole. And Ward crosses the 30 for a 5-yard gain. Comes in averaging 3.6 yards per carry. Greg Olson, offensive coordinator of the Buccaneers.
Yeah, if you're Greg Olson, just thinking about trying to find a way to get a first down. Also, you got to find a way to settle down your young quarterback. Got to get him off to a good start. I think you do that by focusing in on what he does well. Concepts in the passing game that he has a history with. Right now, he does not look comfortable to me.
Ernest Graham was banged up on the play, and now along the Tampa Bay sideline, he's replaced by Chris Presley at fullback. Take the handoff. Freeman, bootleg, long toss, knocked up in the air and incomplete. Revis was over there against Antonio Bryant. Both went to Pitt, although they never crossed over at that program, and Revis is playing as well as any corner in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and Antonio Bryant's not going to run by Darrelle Revis. I think you see right here, I mean, he's very fortunate this one's not picked. You got to be careful when you throw in the direction of number 24. He's done as good a job as any corner in the league, shutting down some of the best receivers. Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, T.O., Steve Smith. He's owned those guys this season.
Now, last night, he took us through his film study, which includes looking at the individual that he covers first, all the tendencies, then he'll go big picture with formations. Really interesting back and forth just to hear the two of you guys talking about how to approach film.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
And first time we heard from Carl Sheffers here this afternoon. Now in his 10th year.
Well, you think about Revis, I really got a kick out of visiting with him last night. I mean, very detailed in terms of his approach each week as he looks at receivers. He looks at their wide receiver splits. I think they tell him a lot. How does the receiver respond to the physicalness that jam at the line of scrimmage? How they use him in the offense? He's a very detailed player, and it really shows up when you watch him on film.
First penalty of the game. Freeman working from the gun. Throws it underneath the coverage. And Kellen Winslow hauls it in, but short of a first down. David Harris over there along with Drew Coleman to hit the tight end. And the Buccaneers will punt following the 5-yard gain.
Boy, the Jets just really have them off balance. They're doing a great job. They give you a lot of different looks to prepare for, and that's pretty typical of a Rex Ryan defense. And I think for a young quarterback, that's going to be the challenge today for Josh Freeman. There's going to be a lot of things he sees today that he's not seen on film in his study this week.
Sam Polescu, parents originally from Romania, now in his 2nd year from Oregon State, punting to the Jets, and Brad Smith catches cleanly, crosses the 40-yard line, and Smith playing a big role in this first quarter. It's a first quarter that's been dominated by the New York Jets. Raheem Morris's squad has allowed the Jets to open up. Average drive start is the Tampa Bay 48. And this is a 1st and 10 just across midfield. 3 receivers set for Clemens, who's 3 of 6 so far for 7 yards. Make the running play and swings it over to Brad Smith. Smith dances his way just short of the 45-yard line for a 3-yard gain. Kyle Moore there to touch him up.
Well, this game starting out just as Rex Ryan would have envisioned it. I mean, they get the big turnover to start the game. Offense is getting short fields. Now you just have to find a way to take advantage of some of these opportunities here that the defense and the kicking game have given them.
Base offense now for the Jets. And the give is to Thomas Jones. A lot of players bunched up as Jones tried to find an opening. Hurdles his way for a gain of 1. Quincy Black, first man there for Tampa Bay.
Well, this is good to see if you're Raheem Morris. Their run defense, it's been a problem all year. Look at the job up here. They're getting pushed. You get penetration in the backfield. Look at all those hats to the ball for the Buccaneers. And this is something that's been a problem for them all season. Right now, they're 31st in run defense. You think the Jets don't want to run the ball against this group?
We'll call it a 3rd and 6 under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Clemens guns it over the middle. Nobody home. He was throwing in the direction of Dustin Keller. And the Jets unable to take advantage of the excellent field position. Clemens, who looked skittish against the Buffalo Bills last week following the Mark Sanchez injury, And this is not the kind of start that he visualized when we talked to him last night.
Now they're killing themselves on third down. They're 0 for 5. They've had some opportunities, but you see right there, Keller and Clemens not on the same page. Keller getting ready to stop in the hole, and Clemens thought he was going to continue to run.
Well, this time Weatherford will punt it. Yvonne figures the deep man, fair catch called for, and he brings it in at the 12-yard line of Tampa Bay. So the Buccaneers pin back deep. Right now, the Jets have the #2 ranked defense in the NFL, allowing just over 276 yards per game. Green Bay is #1. Jets are #1 against the pass.
12 men in the huddle offense. 5-yard penalty.
Oh, boy.
First down.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's unacceptable. You got to change the possession. You have 12 men in the huddle. I mean, this is not the way you want to start a football game. Ian, you and I, we got a chance to see it at practice on Friday. I was not at all impressed by the workout they had on Friday.
Well, last week we saw Indianapolis practice. You said it was the best practice you had seen all season in person. What about Tampa Bay? Where do they rate?
Yeah, we went and looked at it on Friday, particularly the red zone. I was really disappointed. I mean, it wasn't sharp. It wasn't crisp. They weren't going full speed. Josh Freeman didn't look all that comfortable. He threw a pick or two. The ball was on the ground. Not what you'd expect after what happened to him last week.
On a handoff for Derek Ward, and the ball pops loose. Jets claim they've got it.
Boy, they got a break there.
Oh, Buccaneers able to recover it.
Holding, number 70, offense, half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
And a holding call on Donald Penn to boot as Sean Ellis knocked it free.
Boy, they got a real break there. This ball is going to come out from Derek Ward. You're going to see right here. Somebody gets a hand in there, and of course, you think right there the Jets have it. Antonio Bryant just in the right spot to pull that one out.
Well, Rich, this Tampa Bay team 1-15 in its last 16 games. You think back to a year ago, 9-3. They suffered a 4-game losing streak to end the year. John Gruden, Bruce Allen, both relieved of their duties, and this team has not found its way. Handoff to Ward, up the gut, and driven backwards after that initial burst by Sione Boua. 2nd and 18 now for Tampa Bay. Freeman throwing out of his own end zone, slings it. Incomplete, risky pass to Kellen Winslow in a matchup with Bart Scott. Those two know each other from the AFC North, formerly with Cleveland, Winslow, and Baltimore, Bart Scott.
And what did he tell us last night when we visited with Bart Scott? He said Kellen Winslow's basically a receiver. I mean, runs routes like a receiver, so he's very aware he's got to give him some space. But Bart Scott is a guy that really studies film and tendencies. He was right there for that out route by Kellen Winslow.
Scott mentioned the Tampa Bay young quarterback. You just don't know as a defense which guy you're going to see. Maybe he gets into that zone, has a breakout game, or maybe they get the nervous rookie. Right now it looks more like the latter. Set up the screen for Derek Ward. Ward able to break one tackle, and then is brought down as he crossed the 10-yard line. So another quiet possession for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, covering 7 yards. That's going to be the final play of this first quarter. Start of the second quarter in Tampa. And the Jets with a 6-0 lead. Valescu punting. Jericho Cotchery. Again, the Jets will have excellent field position. He got stamped. 16 yards of offense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that first quarter. Kellen Clemens is on the sideline right now for the Jets as they open up their 3rd possession starting inside Tampa Bay's territory. Brad Smith at quarterback.
Well, I'd like to see him throw it out of this formation.
Smith turning the corner. And Smith is banged down as he hit the 40-yard line by Matt McCoy, filling in for the injured Geno Hayes. It's a 6-yard run, multi-dimensional talent. Clemens is back in at quarterback, and a handoff for Sean Green. Hits the hole hard, and Green brought down short of the 35 by McCoy. That's a 4-yard pickup for the rookie. Jets actually run the football 72% of the time on first down. That's the highest in the NFL.
Yeah, you're looking for some tendency breakers, boy, but when you're running it as well as they are right now, it's hard to get off of that. You look at Brian Schottenheimer there with his call sheet. Of course, you got a backup quarterback in the game, so you're very conscious of that as well.
So first down for New York after the run by Green. And give us to Green again. Look at the strength of Sean Green as a flag comes down. extra effort got him out across the 30-yard line.
Holding. Number 49, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And first penalty against the Jets. It's the three-time Pro Bowl fullback, Tony Richardson, picking it up now in his 15th year in the NFL, formerly with Kansas City and Minnesota.
And my old teammate played with him in Kansas City. And boy, he's a great player. He's even a better person. But I tell you, what a great leader to have on your football team. A very unselfish player. Look at there, he's blocked for 8 1,000-yard rushers.
He's actually born in Germany. His father, Ben, was a sergeant major. So maybe you know where the discipline comes from in Tony's family. On a 1st and 20 now for the Jets. Fake the handoff. Clemens airs it out over the middle. Sliding attempt. And Jericho Cotchery. Is it a clean catch? It is.
Boy, best thing you do, hurry up and get up under there. Try and get one called before the Buccaneer coaches can get a look at that one.
And the red flag comes out. They're not even going to look at the replay. It was clearly not a catch. Just saw it on the big screen
Tampa
here.
Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch. We'll review the play. Tampa Bay will not be charged with a timeout.
So Carl Cheffers just made the announcement, and it was a blatant one. Called a clean catch on the field, saw the replay. Not even close for Jericho Cotchery.
After I first saw it, I thought he hurried to throw, but when you go back and look at it, clearly he's trying to stop him in the hole here before he gets to Tenard Jackson, the safety. Would have been a great catch, but I could see he was trying to stop him in the hole between Rondé Barber and free safety Tenard Jackson.
So a 2nd and 20 from the 46-yard line of Tampa Bay. From the gun. Clemens out of the pocket. And Clemens tripped up. Tenard Jackson, good speed, 3rd year out of Syracuse, played cornerback for the Orange, but he's been a safety at this level. Hard hitter, too.
Well, they really like Tenard Jackson. He has good range back there in the secondary, but he's very comfortable up around the line of scrimmage. A good run stopper, a good blitzer as well in this Buck defense.
Now it's a 3rd and 19 for this Jets offense. Jets come in chasing Denver and Jacksonville in the AFC wildcard race. Started the season at 3-0. Looked like it was going to be a big year for Rex Ryan and company.
Well, completion here, any completion, you can pick up 10 or 12 yards. You probably won't get the first down, but you might give yourself an opportunity for a field goal.
Here comes the rush. And Clemens brought down by Styles G. White, formerly of the Arena League, originally a 7th-round pick of Houston back in 2002, and he has certainly developed as a defensive end for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he's playing very well. We talked with the Jets coaching staff last night. They were very concerned about White. He's had a number of sacks the last couple weeks. He plays with good tempo off the edge. A very good pass rusher for the Buccaneers.
Well, the Jets have nothing to show for that excellent field position. Steve Weatherford punting, Lamont Figures, fair catch. Oh, whenever you come to Tampa, you get that pirate motif here with the Buccaneers. It's a great facility, Raymond James Stadium. Also, Buccaneers have a new training facility opened up a few years ago, which is also state-of-the-art. Buccaneers in a 6-0 hold with 12:02 to go in this first half. Cadillac Williams in there, Ernest Graham as well, and Josh Freeman working out of the gun. Freeman is dumped. First sack of the day for the Jets. It's Calvin Pace with number 6 on the season.
Well, I tell you, they come at you so many different ways, and you just see at the top of the screen there, Calvin Pace, he's just going to beat Jeremy Trueblood right to the quarterback. Protection has been a problem all season long for the Buccaneers. This offensive line has really struggled protecting the quarterback.
Well, you knew that it was going to come from all angles against the rookie quarterback here today. Rex Ryan is picking the spots here. Give is to Cadillac Williams, and not much there. Williams trying to go up the gut. Sean Ellis, first man there. It's a 1-yard gain. So Freeman now facing a 3rd and 15 with a 4-receiver set. Freeman so far is 2 of 6, 12 yards and a pick. Freeman out of his own end zone. Rush was coming. unloads and couldn't make the connection.
You know, it's amazing. We went and looked at the third down drill last week. You think in this situation, a 3rd and 16, most defenses would play coverage, but not Rex Ryan. He's going to continue to bring pressure. You got your tight end, Kellen Winslow, wide open, and you missed the throw. Accuracy has been a problem for Josh Freeman.
Sam Polescu back out there for Tampa Bay. Jericho Cotchery, Brad Smith are deep. Smith, the up man. Polescu out of his own end zone. High punt, that's an air under it. And Cotchery with a fair catch. Jets have only 79 yards of offense here in this first half. They've got a 6-0 lead. Kellen Clemens is 4 of 9 for 11 yards. Average drive start has been the 48-yard line. This one opens up at the 47. And the give is to Thomas Jones. Jones knifes his way into Tampa Bay territory, met by Kyle Moore, a 5-yard gain. Last time the Jets finished the season ranked #1 in rushing offense was 1979. They had a balanced attack. Clark Gaines, Scott Durking, Kevin Long, Bruce Harper. Right now, Rex Ryan's team leads the NFL in rushing.
Yeah, it's been like a half-field scrimmage today for the Jets. I mean, they've had wonderful field position. 3 of their drives have started in Tampa territory, but they have really struggled.
It's Jones again, makes it cut, diving forward, short of the 45. Barrett Ruud will get credit for the stop. It's a 2-yard gain for Thomas Jones. Comes in 117 yards away from 9,000 for his career. He's also a touchdown away from going back-to-back of 10 or more touchdowns in a season. Last Jet to do that was Johnny Hector back in 1987-88.
Well, I think he's the real deal. I mean, he's tough. He's a great competitor. He finishes runs. And you mentioned it's amazing what he's done in the last 3.5 years. Only LaDainian Tomlinson has more rushing yards than Thomas Jones.
Jets 0 for on 3rd down conversion. Clemens throwing deep ball and caught by Woodhead. First down, Jets, out of bounds inside the 25. Kellen Clemens kept that play alive, and Woodhead was able to dart his way downfield on the pass play.
Real nice job. You see him looking to his right. Watch him scramble to his left, get his shoulders square, and make a good, accurate throw downfield to Danny Woodhead. This is what they're missing. They needed to find a way to convert a 3rd down. Good throw on the move.
2-time Harlan Hill Trophy winner for the Division II Player of the Year. The 3rd catch of the season for Woodhead at Chadron State. Jones in the backfield on 1st down. And right up the middle for Thomas Jones, met by Styles G. White. And part of the reason that you have to mention White's full name is because he changed it. It used to be Greg White. He's now Styles G. White. And that's legal, similar to Chad Ochocinco. So, Rich, don't think that I'm just saying his name because I like saying
I like the way you say it.
Styles G. White. Who wouldn't like saying it?
Got some style when you're saying that name. Styles G. Boy, he's made some great plays the last couple of weeks. 3 sacks in the first half versus Atlanta 2 weeks ago. Got the attention of the Jets.
And some trickery. It's Brad Smith. Buccaneers were ready for it. It'll go down as a big loss on the play. Tenard Jackson read it perfectly.
Boy, 2 of the better players on that Buccaneer defense. Barrett Ruud gets it started, and then Tenard Jackson finishes it off. They were not at all surprised by this double reverse. You see the handoff there. You see him flick it back. Right there, good pursuit, good angles. You see right there, Barrett Ruud, Tenard Jackson, right in position to make that play.
And a loss of 7 on the play. The Jets maybe getting a little too cute with their play calling. The running game was beginning to wear down the Buccaneers. This is now a 3rd and 14, and Clemens will work out of the gun. Woodhead in the backfield.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
You know, as well as the Jets defense has played, this offense has really struggled, Ian. And you get opportunities like this at midfield, and you can't take advantage of these situations. You allow a team with 1 win. The Buccaneers have 1 win. You allow them to hang around. It's just 6-0. You have to find a way to finish teams off. They're not taking advantage of opportunities here in the first half.
Well, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer, we asked him about Clemens. He said, at this stage of the game, Kellen knows this offense inside and out. But the philosophy is run the football, play good defense, take timely shots. Too many mistakes for the Jets. Clemens swings it, and he had room in front of him. Instead, he goes for Woodhead. And this offense is off kilter, and Rex Ryan is beside himself.
Yeah, they're making the easy plays look difficult. You see right there, Clemens steps up, he tries to kick it wide, you miss the throw. He's missed too many throws, and I look at his footwork right now. To me, he looks like he's rushing some throws.
So Jay Feely will have to attempt a longer field goal than first thought. 49-yard attempt for Feely, who has been excellent this year. 23 of 27. Feely from long distance. He's got it with plenty room to spare. 49-yarder for the Tampa native. Jets with a 9-0 lead. The prevailing thought for the Jets is they're probably going to have to win out to make the playoffs. Coming up, Atlanta. They've been struggling. Indianapolis. Who really knows what the game's going to mean for the Colts? They're undefeated, but they might be resting players. Cincinnati, similar situation where the Bengals may not need the victory for playoff seeding. So the way things are developing here for the Jets, get this victory, move on to next week, and you get a little thicker into the playoff race.
Yeah, and Atlanta's beat up right now, but when we visited with Rex last night, he wasn't at all interested in talking about what's ahead. He was just focusing in on this team today.
Jay Feely kicking off. Yamon Figures is back deep. And Figures from the 7. Figures thrown down at the 23-yard line by Eric Smith on special teams.
Paid a lot of money for Josh Freeman. It's time to see this guy go to work.
5-year, $13 million deal. Number 17 pick overall out of Kansas State. Cadillac Williams gets the call, crossing the 25. Marcus Douglas over there. And another short gain for Tampa Bay. It's a 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, that's ugly. Look at this graphic here, the interception and then 4 straight 3-and-outs. I mean, you hurt your defense. You look at time of possession right now. That's a major factor in this game. The Jets have dominated that in the first half. And, you know, it's tough for young quarterbacks. I think the speed of the game, the complexity of this offense, certainly defenses are much more multiple in terms of fronts and coverages. And tough transition from a college player to starting as an NFL rookie.
On a 2nd and 7 now. They just can't get anything going offensively. Williams again, David Harris. 2-yard gain for Tampa Bay. They had 469 yards of offense last week, a season high, and a 16-6 loss in Carolina. Learning curve for this young team and for a young head coach, Raheem Morris.
Yeah, I just think there's been a lot of change when you look at this organization, and I think it's too much change too soon. And we'll talk about that more later, but a lot of change. They got rid of the general manager, the head coach, coordinators, players, quarterbacks. A lot to have happen in 1 year.
On a 3rd and 5, looking for their first down, and fortunate it wasn't picked off by Lito Shepherd. Playing center field, Kellen Winslow, the intended target. And the Buccaneers will punt again.
Boy, he is really fortunate that wasn't picked off. I mean, he threw a lollipop across the middle of the field. You talk about throwing the ball late down the middle. You see the pressure. He just lobs it out there. He doesn't look out in front of throws. Look at all those Jet defenders right there in position to make a play. You have to look out in front of throws, particularly on those crossing routes.
They have 16 plays and 15 yards on offense. Pelescu the punt. Scooped up and then down. Out across the 40-yard line, Jericho Cotchery. Combined numbers, NFL games are averaging 672 yards of offense per game. That's the highest total in league history. Right now, you're looking at 131 yards combined offense. Handoff. Thomas Jones busting it to the 2nd level. And Jones has got a first down. Good blocks up front from Mangold and Moore into Tampa Bay territory.
And this is what you get when you're patient with the running game. We've seen a lot of runs today from the Jets, a yard or two, but eventually Thomas Jones is going to bust a run and get up on the 2nd level. You see a good job up front there. Look at Tony Richardson get the lead in the little ISO play here. Thomas Jones has become a much more patient runner in this zone run scheme.
On a 1st and 10 from the 42. On the ground again, Jones forcing his way forward inside the 40. Ryan Sims with the stop, and it's a 3-yard gain for Jones.
And they're not afraid to duplicate calls in this system. You see they come back with the very same run, flipped over the opposite way. They like that lead ISO with Tony Richardson, the fullback.
Jets have been held to under 20 points 6 times this season. They're 6-6, 500, 3-3 on the road, although they have lost 5 in a row against the NFC on the road. Jones, legs churning across the 25, 35 for a 6-yard gain and very close to a first down for Thomas Jones.
I really felt the key for this Buccaneer defense was obviously to stop the run on the early downs and really make Kellen Clemens beat you with his arm. I mean, that's got to be the thought process when you look at this offense. I mean, there's a reason why they're the #1 rushing team in football.
But now they face 3rd and short to keep this drive going. 6 offensive linemen. Wayne Hunter has come on. Robert Turner is out with a knee injury. And look out, Thomas Jones streaking to the end zone. Touchdown, Jets. That is domination at the line of scrimmage and a 33-yard rip for Jones. 10 touchdowns rushing on the season for the veteran Jones.
And that's what happens when you commit so many defenders to the line of scrimmage. You see the kick-out block. Thomas Jones gets right there, and Tenard Jackson is not going to catch this guy in the open field. Talk about patience in the running game. Bill Callahan, that offensive line coach, Brian Schottenheimer, they're going to continue to give this guy opportunities.
4 plays, 58 yards, all came from Thomas Jones. Jay Feely, the extra point. 3:19 to go in this first half. The Jets with a 16-0 lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We were waiting for it. At some point, you knew the Jets' running game would kick in. And even Rex Ryan made the point, and looking at the film, Brian Schottenheimer as well, the Buccaneers have been pretty good against the run early in games, but as the game wears on, you'll notice a 25-yard run against them, a 35-yard run against them. This was a long touchdown run for Jones.
Yeah, there's a reason why they're the #1 rushing offense in football. They got a very good back in Thomas Jones and a great offensive line that can lean on you in the running game, and they continue to come after you. They're relentless in their pursuit of rushing the football.
12 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown now for Jones. Now, the formula is pretty simple. Run the football, play good defense. Normally, if you're among the league leaders in those 2 categories, you're going to have a better record than 6-6. #1 in rushing, #2 in overall defense. Figures the return man for Tampa Bay slowed down and brought down short of the 20-yard line by James E. Hedibo. 17-yard return.
Well, you go back and look at the all-22. Keep an eye on Barrett Root. He's going to have an opportunity here. You watch the Jets. They're just going to kick out with Tony Richardson in the left guard, Alan Faneca, and Root's right there in the hole. He just misses Thomas Jones. I mean, it's not like they didn't have it covered, but you got to make tackles in the hole when you have a back like Thomas Jones, and you're playing so many people up at the line of scrimmage to stop the run. One guy misses his run support. Boy, you're in big trouble.
Looking for his 7th 100-yard rushing game of the season. Buccaneers take over, and a handoff to Derek Ward. Nothing is working offensively as the Jets were all over it. A loss of 2 on the play.
When you watch this Jets defense, and as we studied tape during the course of the week, I mean, they play fast within the scheme. At every level of the defense, they communicate, they understand where they're supposed to be. They don't give up a lot of big plays, and boy, their speed just really shows up when you study this defense.
How good did you think this defense would be this year with Rex Ryan?
I knew they were going to be a much improved defense. I just didn't think they'd be this dominant, particularly against the pass.
On a 2nd and 12, Freeman over the middle and short of the 25, Antonio O'Brien, and a sarcastic reaction from these fans. Harris exchanging words with Bryant. It's a 7-yard gain. The Buccaneers still do not have a first down in this first half.
When we looked at 3rd down, we've been charting 3rd downs as we've gone along here in this game. I mean, Rex Ryan has pressured every time they've been in a 3rd down situation, and that's not unusual. We went back and looked at him against Buffalo.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 1-11, and this offense may be hitting a new low, averaging 1.1 yards per play. 3rd and 5, 2-minute warning here in the 2nd quarter. A 4-receiver set for the rookie Josh Freeman to work with. Rush is coming, and Freeman, does he feel it? He's brought down. A sack for James E. Hediball. Second sack of the afternoon for the Jets defense.
It's amazing that they wouldn't realize in this situation. They've pressured him on every third down situation. You see the overload at the top of the screen. You see E. Hediball, he's coming clean. Josh Freeman never feels him. Boy, but an ugly first half of football for the Bucs.
E. Hediball with his first sack of the season. And another punt for Polescu. That one was nearly blocked. Cotchery backpedals, has some room to work with now on the perimeter. And Cotchery forced out of bounds as he angles out just before the 40-yard line by Quincy Black.
The more opportunities, the more carries, the better he gets in games.
Do you think underappreciated, though, if you look at it nationally?
No question. I mean, you think about what this guy's accomplished. 5 straight seasons with 1,000 or more yards rushing. He's one of the dominant backs in the league.
Shotgun formation. Clemens will give it to Danny Woodhead, and he finds a running lane out across the 45-yard line. Barrett Ruud makes the stop for Tampa Bay. So Woodhead's been involved offensively in the receiving game and the running game. And a timeout taken by the Jets with 1:03 to play in this first half. They believe they can get more points on the board after the 8-yard gain. 1:03 to go in this first half. Clemens is throwing and connects with Braylon Edwards. He's out of bounds. First catch of the day for Edwards. Does Edwards have a future with the Jets? His contract's up at the end of the season. What's your sense? Do they see him as part of the foundation?
I think they like him. I think he's been very unselfish in terms of what he's done in the running game. When you talk to the coaches, they're happy with him. He's been a guy that's willing to go in there and dig some people out in the running game. He just has to become a better catcher of the football. I think he struggles a little bit. I think a lot of it has to do with his focus.
On the ground, a little Danny Woodhead thrown down just short of the 40-yard line. A 4-yard gain. Ruud in on that stop again. And another timeout used with 52 seconds to play in this first half. And the Jets with a 16-0 advantage. They're driving. Line of scrimmage just shy of the 40 of Tampa Bay. 2nd and 5. Shotgun formation here for Clemens. One timeout to work with. 52 seconds on the clock. Clemens in the pocket. Rainbow delivery too high for Braylon Edwards. And Clemens telling us in our meeting last night that this week was the first time that he got a chance to actually throw to Braylon Edwards. Sanchez, of course, the #1 quarterback. And since that deal, they had no work in training camp with the Cleveland Browns. It's actually the first time that they've worked together.
Yeah, and that's pretty standard operating procedure if you're a backup quarterback. Like, I just think that, Kellen Clemens, he's been in the league 4 years. He hasn't had a ton of opportunities, but when he's played, he's been very average, I think, completing just 52%, as I said, throwing twice as many interceptions as touchdowns. He's got to get that straightened out.
Clemens has got protection and finds the open man over the middle, and it's Danny Woodhead who's able to accelerate out across the 35-yard line. Matt McCoy, the linebacker. Clock is moving, 30 seconds left, a first down for the Jets, and they spike it. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for New York. Now getting into field goal range for Feely, although Rex Ryan and Brian Schottenheimer are looking for more.
Yeah, you just have to be smart in this situation. If you're Kellen Clemens, as we talked about, 16-0 lead, your defense is playing lights out. The Bucs are really struggling on offense. These are great situations for a young quarterback to be in. You have opportunities, you can take some chances, you just have to be smart with the football. Obviously, you can't turn it over here, and you can't take a sack. You're already in field goal range.
2nd and 10 for the Jets. Here comes the rush. Jets handle it. Clemens guns it. Low throw for Cotchery.
Yeah, I don't think he caught that.
It's incomplete. So similar circumstance to the previous play that was challenged by Raheem Morris. Clemens just couldn't get it there on time.
Yeah, just watch Kellen Clemens here. It's again, you got receivers open. Boy, you're making it difficult. You got to give him a chance to make a catch. Cotchery there, he's wide open coming across the middle of the field. Put it out in front of him. Don't make him stop in the hole, and give a veteran player like Rondé Barber a chance to make a play.
And this would be a booth review under 2 minutes to go. They're not even going to look at it. That clearly hit the grass before Cotchery was able to haul it in. Sets up 3rd and 10 now. They'll go with a running play and a whistle.
Previous play is under review.
Oh, that's not necessary.
That's their job up top. Somebody upstairs must have wanted to take a look.
Well, obviously you've got to do your due diligence, and that's why they're there. 22 seconds to play in this first half.
They maybe not have that keen eyesight that you have.
Is it just my eyesight, or did you feel the same way?
I thought he trapped it, but
that look was a good one for Kotchery and the Jets. This look is not. And that's rolling around the ground. But maybe Carl Cheffers will see it differently.
I don't think so.
Just trying to build the drama here, Rich.
I know you are. I'll tell you, when you have receivers like this, and both quarterbacks have had opportunities today in the passing game, but their footwork, their accuracy is not where it needs to be at this level. And I think there's a reason why both of these quarterbacks have struggled.
Now, if you have a Sanchez jersey and you know he's not playing, is that still okay to wear it to the game?
So.
You think that's okay?
I know he's at home watching.
He might be at the facility right now.
I think he's getting treatment. We talked with Rex Ryan last night. He said his rehab schedule is absolutely brutal.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because we asked Rex about making the decision early in the week, not playing the cat and mouse game. Who were they going to start? I'll tell you about that in a second. Here's Carl Cheffers with the announcement after the booth review.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball hit the ground prior to the receiver gaining possession. It's an incomplete pass. Third down.
And Rex Ryan told us that Mark needed to know that it was Rex's decision. It wasn't Mark's decision. It was the decision of the coaching staff and the medical staff, and he didn't want to beat around the bush. He wanted Clemens to know the situation. He wanted Mark to know the situation. And obviously, if everything goes according to plan, Mark will be ready to take on the Atlanta Falcons at the Meadowlands next week.
Yeah, what you don't want is a guy like Sanchez trying to make it through the week of practice. He's not 100%, and then you find out he can't play, and your backup quarterback hasn't had the luxury of getting all the reps in practice during the course of the week.
Supposed to be 10 seconds on the clock.
So 22 seconds remain. They're resetting the play clock here. They're going to set it up at 10 seconds for Clemens. They're already at the line of scrimmage, so it won't be an issue getting the snap off. Jets lead at 16-0. They face a 3rd and 10 at the Tampa Bay 32. Pitch is to Woodhead. And cutting it to the outside, he's thrown out of bounds by Rondé Barber. A gain of 1. Field goal unit will come on for New York with 16 seconds to play in the second quarter.
Boy, Jay Feely's had a busy first half, hasn't he?
Got a lot of family and friends here.
That's just frustrating if you're the offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. You've had great field position all first half, and you've not been able to capitalize. And I just think that, you know, they have to go back and make some adjustments. They've not been tied down, and they've missed a number of opportunities, and you always wonder if that's going to jump up and bite you in the second half.
Feely, 49 yards away, and he drills it. Jay Feely, the local product, 4 for 4. 19-0 Jets with 11 seconds to go in the first half.
Boy, I tell you, if you're the Buccaneers offense, you might not even want to go in the locker room at halftime. You might want to just stay out here and get yourself some work on air. I tell you, I don't know how you'd face your defense after what transpired in the first half. You think about time of possession, they've had the ball twice as long, the Jets. The defense for the Buccaneers actually hasn't played all that poorly here in the first half. They've been on the field too much. The offense has just been absolutely awful. 9 plays, 31 yards. It took 57 seconds and a 49-yard field goal for Feely. Good look at Mike Westhoff. He does a heck of a job with the kicking units for the Jets. Veteran coordinator, as you mentioned, Ian, one of the best in the business.
Big smile for Feely. Not the case for Raheem Morris, the 33-year-old head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's from Irvington, New Jersey, which is just 20 minutes away from the new Jets facility in Florham Park, New Jersey.
Boy, it's been a tough first season for him. You think about not a ton of experience, just 1 year of experience as a coordinator, and that was in college at K-State. Fired both coordinators, Jeff Jagodzinski, Jim Bates a couple weeks ago.
Adam Hayward on the return, and 6'5" 5 seconds, and the clock was still moving. They whistled it dead before that. 7-yard return for Hayward as Feely put it on the ground. Jets with a 19-0 lead. Josh Freeman, all part of the learning process. This is the part of the broadcast where I get to make Rich Gannon feel old. Freeman is from Kansas City, Missouri, and he told our group that as a kid, he would go to Arrowhead and watch Rich Gannon play quarterback.
How about that, huh? It's a Kansas City native. I think he's got a bright future in this league, but boy, it's not been a very good first half.
Well, maybe some Rich Gannon tapes at halftime.
Well, they need something. They need to find a way to jumpstart this offense. A defensive penalty there.
Defense, 12 men. That penalty's declined. That's the end of the half.
Jets trying to move to 7-6 on the season. Buccaneers, 4 consecutive losses. Their lone victory on the season came against the Green Bay Packers. You think back on that now, on November the 8th. Now the Buccaneers were able to get the W and at least take the pressure off of avoiding an 0-16 season. Brad Smith, the return man, flag is down. Smith, little juke move out across the 35-yard line, but could have been a block in the back, right around the 20.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 55 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And it is the Rutgers product, Jamal Westerman, called on the penalty.
There you're going to see him right on the left side of your screen right there. That's pretty clean. You can't push a guy in the back. Even if you don't try and go in there and knock him down, you just got to be smart in those situations.
When you say clean, you don't mean it in the good way.
No, and he's over there trying to explain himself to the special teams coach, Mike Westhoff. You just got to make good decisions. You don't want to start out the second half and put your offense in bad field position. And
that's exactly what the Jets face here. 1st and 10 at the 8-yard line. First play from scrimmage in the 3rd quarter. Jets lead it 19-0. Running play, it's Jones, and runs into a wall at the 10. Jimmy Wilkerson among those there for Tampa Bay. It's a 2-yard gain for Jones. Well, for the Jets in that first half, field goal. They had some chances there to turn those 3s into 7s, unable to do so.
Yeah, they had some opportunities, and they didn't take advantage of the other thing, Ian. The 3 for 11 on 3rd down. That's not good enough, and they have to do a better job in 3rd down here in the second half to keep some of these drives alive.
Last time these two teams played, December of 05, Curtis Martin had 2 touchdown runs, a 14-12 Jets win over Tampa Bay. Jones in the backfield with Richardson. He's got the lead blocker, and Jones spilled out as he crossed the 10-yard line by Quincy Black. Buccaneers have dealt with a number of injuries themselves on defense. Angelo Crowell on injured reserve with a bicep injury, and Jermaine Phillips on IR with a thumb injury.
Well, nice job by Quincy Black. He makes Tony Richardson, the fullback, miss in the hole, and he gets a nice stop on Thomas Jones. And they really like these young linebackers. I mean, Hayes is not up today, but Quincy Black has done a nice job. Barrett Ruud, very smart player, one of the leaders of this defense. He's their leading tackler in the middle.
Well, Ruud has commented how they played a lot faster the last couple of weeks defensively. Clemens airing it out, and too high. Threw it to the Tampa Bay sideline over the head of Dustin Keller. And the Jets with a 3-and-out to open play in this second half. That's a mini victory for the Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah, you can see Rex Ryan, he is not happy. Some of these throws, Ian, they're not even close. I mean, that's the thing to me that's a little alarming. It's just that they're missing throws by a country mile. I mean, you got to give your receivers a chance to make a play in space.
Clemens is 7 of 17 for 52 yards. Weatherford, the punt, and Figures from the 44. Figures into Jets territory. Buccaneers offensive coordinator Greg Olson, longest play from scrimmage, 7 yards in the first half for Tampa Bay. They open up, first possession of the second half for them, 1st and 10 of the Jets' 47. Cadillac Williams in the backfield with Ernest Graham. Fake the handoff, Freeman to throw it, and that's too high. Ernest Graham out in the flat. Incomplete. First half possessions for the Buccaneers. You may notice a trend.
Yeah, a bunch of 3-and-outs, and this is not good. And if you're You're Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator. You're just scouring that call sheet, just trying to find a play to get your young quarterback comfortable, trying to find him a completion. I think some of the three-step throws would probably be a good place to start.
29th in the NFL in scoring, averaging 15.6 points per game. Gilmore, the motion man. Off the play fake. And he hits Gilmore for a gain out across the 45-yard line. Stopped by Darrell Revis and Bart Scott.
And it's amazing. You see how quick they close. You see that he's just going to look play action. He's just going to kick it to the tight end here. But watch how quick Revis and Scott get there. Boy, you don't have a lot of time against this defense to get your head and shoulders square.
Just the second catch of the season for Gilmore, the former Chicago Bear, originally drafted by the Saints in the 6th round in 2002.
What do you suppose you'll see here? Maybe some pressure, huh? Absolutely.
Dime package for the Jets. And Freeman incomplete. Thought they might have their first down of the day. Antonio Bryant, the intended target. Darrell Revis there defensively.
Well, you can't miss him on the back shoulder. Look at this. You got Antonio Bryant. You got to throw it out in front of his number and give him a chance to get into the transition of the run. And if I'm Raheem Morris, I might be thinking about making a quarterback change right now. I mean, if you want to win this game, right now, Josh Freeman doesn't look to me like he's going to give you a chance.
Now, their backup quarterback is Josh Johnson, who has started this season for the Buccaneers. He's thrown for 685 yards and 4 touchdowns. Pelescu punting. And this one is going to bounce high in the air. It was slapped out of there by the Buccaneers downfield.
Yeah, he never reestablished himself.
Maurice Stovall. Kellen Clemens, his career record as a starter, 3-5. That was back in 2007 when Chad Pennington was injured. In 2008, Clemens thought he was in an open competition for the quarterback job with Pennington. Then Mike Tannenbaum and the Jets made the move for Brett Favre, and that competition ended very quickly. Handoff to Sean Green, and Green extending his body out across the 20-yard line. Matt McCoy there for the tackle, a 3-yard gain. Now in his 4th year from Oregon, originally a 2nd-round pick back in 2006. Sean Green just steamrolled his way to the 25-yard line. Matt McCoy again defensively for Tampa Bay, and it's no secret what the Jets are doing. Using the running game, eat up clock, and try to get out of Tampa with a win.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about Sean Green. I mean, he's averaging 4.8 a carry. I mean, most among rookie rushers, and does a nice job spelling that guy right there. Thomas Jones, a nice 1-2 punch for the Jets.
Green, an All-America at Iowa, 3rd-round pick of the Jets. They'll try to keep this drive going on a 35. Draw play, Green, 1st down and more. Sean Green loses the football. It's still loose. It popped out at the 45-yard line. And a flag down on the play back at the 27. Buccaneers have it. A 30-yard run.
And what did we talk to Rex Ryan about last night? He said the turnovers have been a problem all season. They have 27 already. That's tied for 28th in the league. Too many. It's hard to win when you put the ball on the ground.
Aqib Talib with the recovery. It was going to get called back.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was fumbled, recovered by the defense. Holding number 65 offense is declined. 1st down, Tampa Bay.
Fumble by Sean Green. Rondé Barber with the strip from behind for Tampa Bay to help create the turnover. And Buccaneers have it with a 1st and 10 at the 45. 20 yards of offense so far for Tampa Bay. Handoff to Cadillac Williams. And Williams to the 49. 4-yard gain. Spotted just shy of the 50. Down to 10:24 to go in this 3rd quarter. Now you see the difference from last week. People thought maybe the offense was headed in the right direction, although they didn't convert on those opportunities. They lost the game 16-6 in Carolina. 5 interceptions for Josh Freeman.
Yeah, they're inside the 30-yard line 8 times, and yet they're only able to score 6 points. A big reason why the turnovers in the red zone.
On 2nd down, Stonewall Cadillac Williams hit by Calvin Pace.
Well, I tell you what, Calvin Pace has quietly had a pretty outstanding day over there. He had the sack earlier. You see him come off the line of scrimmage here. Very poor job, poor effort by Kellen Winslow. That's not the strength of his game. He doesn't want to get his nose dirty blocking ends and linebackers off the line of scrimmage. Not a very good effort by your tight end, Kellen Winslow.
Now Winslow, he's been effective catching the football. 3 catches away now from tying the franchise record for tight ends with Jackie Harris. But apparently blocking still leaves something to be desired. Freeman on 3rd down and dragged down. Donald Strickland, the cornerback. 3rd sack of the day for the Jets defense.
You know, it's amazing. We're seeing the very same pressures over and over again.
Flags come down. A helmet has come off. Adam Hayward, a defensive player, probably on the switchover for the punting unit.
He got up there a little bit early.
Words being exchanged, and certainly the frustration for Tampa Bay. 19 total yards for the Buccaneers, 0 first downs.
After the play was over, unnecessary roughness, number 57 of the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And that's their first down. Bart Scott just gave it to him.
Well, it's tough when the only way you can make first downs is by way of penalty.
Jets defense was done. They had done their job. They had sacked Josh Freeman. They were headed off the field. And Bart Scott with something extracurricular to cost his football team.
Boy, just can't give a team like this that's been struggling all day, just can't give them an opportunity. You got to be smart in those situations.
Well, you want it up?
This is the
Please put
deepest
9-11 on the game clock. 9-11.
deepest Tampa Bay has been all day. First down comes on a penalty against the Jets. Cadillac Williams. Marcus Douglas with a tackle. Let's take a look at it. Bart Scott late in that play.
Well, you see the sack here by Strickland, and then
that's Harris that was in there. And now Bart Scott. Here's where it is.
yeah, you just got to be smart right there. And they always get the guy that retaliates. Of course, when you knock another player's helmet off, that usually gets it done. Pretty emotional player, Bart Scott. Boy, you have to be smart.
Well, you ride that emotional roller coaster with him as Williams gets the call. And hit hard by Howard Green. You know, you take the positives from Bart Scott because he's a spirited leader and he charges up this defense, but that's a case where his emotions got the best of him. The play was over. They're supposed to be going to the other side of the field and let the punting unit come on.
And you know Bart Scott, he is not shy. He likes to get in people's grill and talk a little bit, but you have to be smart and you have to be willing to walk away. Cost someone right there.
Another chance to stop Tampa Bay now on a 3rd and 2. Cadillac Williams. He's bottled up. Bart Scott again there defensively, needed 2 yards. He comes up with 1.
Well, this is 4-down territory, obviously, for the Bucs. But boy, watch this close. I mean, you just need 2 yards. Watch Bart Scott. He's right there. And I'll tell you what, the linebackers for the Jets are dominating the tight ends for the Buccaneers. I mean, they own them at the line of scrimmage.
On 4th down. We come up on 7 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter. 4th and 1 for Tampa Bay. Ernest Graham. And the fans react. It's a first down to the 30-yard line. It's the loudest cheer we've heard all day.
Yeah, something to cheer about. You hand the ball to your fullback here and got to find a way to pick up half a yard. They get that done. But look how high they're playing along the line of scrimmage there. You look at this offensive line, too high. Their pad level way too high. Very difficult to get movement up front.
So this drive continues after the penalty on Scott. And then the Buccaneers convert on a first down on a 4th and 1. New set of downs for Tampa Bay. Shotgun formation. Freeman throwing. Sideline. Incomplete. Brian Clark matched up with Darrelle Revis.
Now this is why this guy is one of the best players in the game in his position. This is designed to be a back shoulder throw to Brian Clark, and they do a nice job. But watch the adjustment here. Right there at the end, he gets that left hand in there. A lot of cornerbacks can't make that play in space. Great job there by Revis.
You asked him about all the attention he's getting as one of the best cover corners in the NFL, and Revis said, look, I look at it as hard work paying off. I came into the NFL wanting to be the best corner in the league. Handoff to Cadillac Williams. But even his reaction was confident, yet you saw the humble side. He didn't get all worked up over the fact that everybody has been talking about him on the elite level.
Yeah, I think he likes the attention. I think he likes the assignments each week. He knows he has to cover the best receivers week in and week out. I think that's something that really gets him excited as he looks at the game plan. And he really felt like when he sat down with Rex at the beginning of the season, he said the defense will run through our corners in this secondary, and it has.
10th play of the drive for Tampa Bay. On a 3rd and 8 now for Freeman and the Bucs offense. Rush is coming. Freeman gets rid of it. And the coverage there against Brian Clark. And it's that guy again, Darrelle Revis.
You know, I'm watching the secondary. I'm watching the concepts in terms of the patterns. And there's not huge holes or opportunities to fit throws in. I mean, you see here, they max it up. They block them all up. They give them time to throw. But watch how quickly they close on some of these routes. Revis is right there for Brian Clark. Well, that's why you have to have pinpoint accuracy when you go up against this unit.
43-yard field goal attempt for Connor Barth. Buccaneers are only 9 of 18 this season. And Barth connects. Jets turn it over. Then the Jets defense holds, but a penalty against Bart Scott keeps the Tampa Bay drive alive. Buccaneers able to cash in with a 43-yard field goal from Connor Barth, who now kicks it off. Onside attempt. And the Buccaneers fall on it. Albert Mack on the recovery, and he's got it. It's clean. So some trickery on special teams earlier from the Jets. The Buccaneers just executed that perfectly.
Boy, you go back to that penalty of Bart Scott's. That was huge. You're going to see right here. They start taking off, and Mack is right there for the play. They go out and get a block out in front of it. Nice job there by Tenard Jackson.
So Barth put some spin on it. It's got to go the necessary 10 yards. It did. And it actually just banged into Jackson. And it caromed perfectly for Tampa Bay. Well, the Buccaneers have it at the 42-yard line. Good timing. And well done for Tampa Bay. The Jets defense is back on the field.
Yeah, and go back to that penalty, Ian. I mean, that was huge. You get the field goal, now you get an onside kick.
4:41 to go in the third. Buccaneers get the football back. Carl Cheffers had called for a timeout. Clearly there is not a timeout, and the Buccaneers have it 1st and 10. So an opportunity here for Tampa Bay. They have mustered 35 yards of offense, yet they're still in this game. Hand off to Derek Ward. Brian Thomas with the stop for New York, a 3-yard gain.
Well, if I'm Josh Freeman, as I look at this defense, I'm going to stay away from number 24. I want to work in the opposite direction. I want to find Lito Shepherd and some of these safeties. Revis has just made too many plays on the back end, and Antonio Bryan is not going to win that matchup one-on-one.
I tell you, Bart Scott is having an equipment problem here, and he's just getting his helmet on. He'll be okay. 2nd and 7 now for Tampa Bay. Come up on 4 minutes to go in this third quarter. Ward stays in there. Cadillac Williams has not been very effective. Really, nobody has offensively. Freeman, play action.
Well, better get rid of it.
And Freeman making plays with his legs. That's something the Jets were concerned about. Rex Ryan telling us that Freeman, you asked him, who does he remind you of? He says a little bit like Ben Roethlisberger, that he can sense pressure. He's so hard to bring down, and he can get out of the pocket and create.
Yeah, this is something he needs to do more of. I just think using those legs, pick up some first downs, and escape some of the pressures. I think he's had a tendency in the first half to hold the ball a little bit, take that extra hit. You can't afford to do that against this defense.
He's a big kid, 6'6". What would you say his weight is?
He's probably 245, 250. He's a big man. And I think that, you know, he is a very strong, he can make all the throws. Boy, the game has to slow down for him.
And a timeout with the play clock winding down. Buccaneers face a 3rd and short. They trail the Jets 19-3. 3:20 to play in this third quarter.
You saw they're 0 for 10 on 3rd down conversions. I knew this would be a big down against this defense today. They give you so many different looks in this situation.
Stovall, the motion man. Freeman trying to throw for it on 3rd down. Out of the pocket, throwing, and broken up. Kellen Winslow with David Harris there defensively. And the Buccaneers will punt.
Well, they just do a great job in that situation. The Jets weren't at all fooled by the play action, the roll by the quarterback. They had everybody covered up. You're going to see the tight end go out. They run the back to the flat. Watch how they pass this off. I mean, they're right there. You see the corners out waiting. You see the safety looking for the tight end. The linebackers buzzing across for the other tight end. Nice play by Harris. I mean, good job, good distribution by that defense.
Polescu, the punt. Cotchery looking into the sun. This one will take a bounce right up in the air. Oh, boy. Well done. I'll give credit to special teams right now for Tampa Bay, executing on the onside kick, and then a punt of 47 yards as it curled around and stayed away from the end zone. Touched up at the 3-yard line. Jets in front 19-3. Trying to keep pace with New England in the AFC East and the wild card teams in front of them. Handoff to Thomas Jones.
Boy, we've had a number of holding penalties today by this Jets offense.
And another flag thrown.
I think we're going to have another one.
Remember, line of scrimmage is the 3-yard line. Denver and Jacksonville ahead of the Jets in the AFC wildcard race.
Holding. Number 93, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, that's one you don't see a lot on a running play.
And an injury now for the Jets. It's Nick Mangold. Mangold, who has just been outstanding for this team right from the very start. He's been a fixture, a starter from day one, a Pro Bowler last year. 4th year out of Ohio State. I mentioned earlier, Robert Turner is not available. Normally the backup center because of a knee injury. Matt Slauson would step in to replace Mangold.
You see him there right in the center of your screen, and
his left foot. Looked like his left foot got stepped on. Might have been Alan Faneca just to his left. And the Jets medical staff now on the field.
Boy, he's a tough guy too.
There is Slauson, the rookie from Nebraska, who actually played for Bill Callahan when Callahan was the head man of the Cornhuskers. Callahan now one of the assistant coaches and the man that installs the running game for the Jets offense.
Yeah, he's a big reason why this Jets offense is averaging almost 170 yards a game on the ground. I mean, he does a wonderful job with this group, but you can't afford to lose Nick Mangold. He's the guy that anchors that front. Had the opportunity to visit with Bill this morning. He says he's the smartest guy and maybe one of our toughest guys up front. You see right there, that left ankle just kind of turns on him and he goes right down to the ground.
So you got a holding penalty and an injury deep in their own territory.
You see that 60 consecutive games. I think we saw a graphic last night. This group up front, they played together 29 straight games. So a lot of continuity along that offensive line.
So number 68, Matt Slauson, steps in, a 6th-round draft pick from Nebraska.
You got a backup quarterback in there, a backup center. You want to make sure that you take care of that quarterback-center exchange.
Thomas Jones, nothing there. Up the middle, Chris Hovan, the former Viking, in on that tackle for Tampa Bay.
Well, if you're the Jets offensively, you can't be all of a sudden get conservative now. I think you got to continue to press the envelope, continue to be aggressive. Can't allow this Bucs defense to continue to play like they have been. I mean, they're making stops, they're holding you to field goals. Got to find a way to get something going here in the second half on offense.
Wayne Hunter is in for the Jets as an extra lineman. We've seen this on a few occasions. Tight formation with Thomas Jones. Take the handoff, bootleg, and they swing it out to Mulligan. Matthew Mulligan with his first NFL catch in his first year out of Maine, formerly with the Miami practice squad. Quincy Black with the tackle, a 2-yard gain.
They bring in heavy personnel. They fake the run action to the right, and they bring the bootleg right around. But the nice job by Quincy Black and the Bucs defense. They weren't at all fooled. Good job covering Matthew Mulligan.
So 3rd and 8, Mangold is back in for the Jets. Good sign for New York that he was able to bounce back after what looked like a left ankle injury. Clemens to throw it. And right at the marker, he's got a first down to Braylon Edwards.
And that was the best throw I've seen from Kellen today. I mean, that came out on rhythm. It had good firmness to it, puts it right in the spot that he can make the play. This should be a matchup you should go after all day. I mean, you got Braylon Edwards on Rondé Barber. He's a guy that doesn't trust his speed as much anymore, doesn't want anyone to run by him, but I think that's a matchup you need to continue to exploit.
Under a minute to go now in the 3rd quarter. Jets with a 19-3 lead. 11 first downs for the Jets, 2 for Tampa Bay. Jets have 241 yards of offense. Motion man Richardson. Take the running play, moving pocket. Clemens throwing on the move, and a strike to Cotchery. Jericho Cotchery out to the 45-yard line, brought down by Aqib Talib for Tampa Bay. 26-yard hookup. Ian Eagle, Rich Gann, and the rest of our CBS crew here in Tampa, along the Gulf Coast in Florida. Jets have a 19-3 lead over the Buccaneers as we start play in the 4th quarter. Jets will have problems winning tiebreakers for a playoff spot. So I think that's why, if you look at the numbers, they probably will have to finish the season on a 6-game winning streak in order to make the postseason, unless certain things break their way. Wildcat now with Brad Smith taking the snap, shotgun. He's got Woodhead in the option and decides not to pitch it. Smith is driven out of bounds by Styles G. White. And here's the story in the AFC East. New England at 7-5. Miami and the Jets tied at 6-6. Dolphins swept the Jets. Jets and Patriots split. Give us to Thomas Jones. And hit behind the line of scrimmage. Read perfectly by Talib. The aggressive second-year corner out of Kansas.
And what happens is they don't have them blocked. They're bringing extra defenders down around the line of scrimmage. You see Talib, he comes right off the edge. Thomas Jones tries to wind this one back. You have to keep this front side. Talib not blocked. The end man on the line of scrimmage.
So it's a loss of 3. They are back to the 45-yard line. They need 10 yards to convert this with a 19-3 lead. Bucksock in motion. Take the draw play. Clemens guns in and hauled in. Braylon Edwards with a clean catch to the 36-yard line of Tampa Bay. Clemens gave his receiver a chance to grab it, and he did. Tenard Jackson over there defensively.
This is great concentration at the end here by Edwards. What a great job there. He knows he's going to get hit. Good throw by Clemens, but watch Braylon Edwards extend himself. He knows he's going to take a big hit by Tenard Jackson. That's a huge throw and catch on 3rd down.
19 yards. Edwards 3 catches for 37 yards. And the Jets able to keep this ball moving now on a 1st and 10 at the Tampa Bay 36. On the ground, Jones tried to sidestep But Rondé Barber was there defensively for Tampa Bay. You know that New Orleans and Indianapolis, they have played some tight games, and obviously both teams undefeated here at week 14. Clemens throwing, and Dustin Keller finally gets into the stat sheet as Keller makes the grab. Elbert Mack with the hit. It's a 3-yard gain, and they'll have third and a manageable yardage here, about 5 yards to go for the first down.
I just think Kellen Clemens could have gotten Dustin Keller the ball there a little bit early, just a little hesitant there. Sometimes you get greedy. You want to pass up the first one and look for the second one.
It's finally found some rhythm, though, on this drive from the third quarter into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he's getting Braylon Edwards a little bit involved, and I think that's important.
On a 3rd and 5. Keller goes in motion. Clemens looking to throw for the first down, and incomplete. Kochery with Talib, who jumped the route. And now it's 4th down for the Jets. 11:23 to go in the 4th.
Yeah, just trying to throw that little hook route, and Talib was right in position to make that play. And it's a good thing that Kellen Clemens threw that one high and wide, or Talib would have had an easy interception.
So Jay Feely, who has banged in a couple of 49-yard attempts. He is 4 of 4 today. This will be a 48-yard attempt for Jay Feely. High snap, handled, and Feely, no good. It was pushed off to the right. Jets with an 8-1 record against Tampa Bay. They've got a 19-3 lead. 11:18 to go in the fourth quarter. Buccaneers take over after the missed field goal by Jay Feely, a 1st and 10 at the 39. Freeman, shotgun formation. He guns it over the middle. Catch made by Winslow, breaking 1 tackle, and then the second effort by Eric Smith. I feel like we've seen a lot more of Eric Smith than Kerry Rhodes today, although that was a big storyline coming in. Rhodes on his Twitter account earlier, but we've seen them both out there. They've played 3 safeties. Rhodes, clearly it's the semantics for him right now. Is he the starter? Is he not the starter? In Rex Ryan's eyes, that part is irrelevant.
Yeah, I think he was trying to send a message to him, and he told us last night, he said, I'd rather have an overachiever than an underachiever play for me, and expects more out of Kerry Rhodes.
Yeah, draw your own conclusions from that statement. Flag down as Moore is able to turn the corner and accelerate out across the 40-yard line, but this one is coming back. John Gilmore was in that area as an extra blocker, the tight end.
Holding, number 88, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
So that is Gilmore who gets called on the penalty. Best run of the day is nullified for Tampa Bay.
And when you're the end man on the line of scrimmage, you got to be smart. The officials are right there in position to make those calls. And
line of scrimmage will now be the 35-yard line. You mentioned it earlier, the possibility of pulling Freeman and putting Josh Johnson in there. What's your feeling now that we're into the fourth quarter?
Well, I think you got to go with this guy here. I mean, I think you just got to give him some opportunities to make some throws. I mean, they've not really found their rhythm. They're not running the ball very well. And of course, they're struggling on 3rd down.
This is 2nd and 13. He's got room to work with.
And here's where he can really hurt you.
Terrific speed. Josh Freeman, 1st down, Tampa Bay.
You know, I think the problem with him right now is that, doesn't really have a mentor in his meeting room. It's a young it's a young group in there. Josh Johnson, and they have Rudy Carpenter, rookie. You see him just drop back here. The thing he can really do, he's an athletic player, and he can hurt you with his legs. And this is something that I think he needs to continue to take advantage of, particularly against a Jets defense that's forcing him to move in the pocket.
He told us he was looking forward to competing against Mark Sanchez, rookie against rookie, but obviously it didn't turn out to be that in the matchup today because of the Sanchez knee injury. Incomplete. Stovall, the intended receiver.
Yeah, these are the ones you have to hit. The easy 3-step slant throws, something that's a staple in this offense. And go back when you talk about this offense. I know Jeff Jagodzinski was replaced earlier in the year by Greg Olson. When he came in, he changed the entire system, all the terminology, the formations, the protections. And Greg Olson was really left in a tough spot. And I think he talked to us on Friday. He said, we're going to go back to the way it was under John Gruden in terms of the terminology and the system. But right now, boy, it's really been tough for some of these players.
We have seen Vernon Golston and Jamal Westerman in this series defensively for the Jets. Freeman, incomplete, thought he had his man. Kellen Winslow in a matchup with Donald Strickland, and Strickland wins that battle with tight coverage.
And it's amazing how they're covering Kellen Winslow. They either have a corner or a safety on him most of the day, and as we said, he runs routes like a receiver. You see him right there in the middle of your screen or on the outside. That's the slant route earlier. But they have had problems, a lot of teams covering this guy. I mean, he had 58 receptions coming into today's game, 5 touchdowns. Very difficult guy to cover in the open field.
So now a 3rd and 10 for the Buccaneers. Down to 9:26 to go in this 4th quarter. From the gun, Freeman. Intercepted. It's Darrelle Revis. Revis into Tampa Bay territory. Down the sideline. Revis stumbling. He's in. Or is he? Out of bounds. Knocked out inside the 10. Interception number 6 and a 54-yard return for Darrelle Revis.
And what did I say earlier? If you're Josh Freeman, don't even bother throwing in his direction. You can see right here, Brian Clark, this is a matchup. Look at this. He just jumps all over it. Of course, he misses him on the back shoulder. Revis is right there. And, of course, after the play, look at all these Jet defenders get downfield and get some blocks for him. He's a very good runner in the open field as well.
Now, Darrelle Revis, we talked about the film study. It was as if he knew exactly what the Buccaneers were trying to run.
Well, he really makes good plays on balls when they're in the air. Just has a great feel for it, a great knack for where he needs to be in the coverage.
So another pick for Freeman. Jets take over with a 1st and goal. And timeout, Tampa Bay.
Timeout.
And the Jets have it a 1st and goal after the pick by Revis. Jones in the backfield. Handoff to Jones. He's got the angle. Touchdown, Jets. Thomas Jones veering to the outside. And the Jets may have delivered the knockout punch with 9:07 left in the 4th.
Boy, I couldn't tell if that was just a great job by the Jets offense sealing the edge, or the Bucs didn't do a very good job containing. You can see Rondé Barber, he gets blown off the ball, and of course, no one there to make that play on Thomas Jones. But Thomas Jones, I'll tell you, his speed really shows up on film. When this guy gets out on the perimeter, he can kick it into another gear.
11th rushing touchdown of the season. Feely on for the extra point. 26-3. Jets 26, the Buccaneers 3. 9:07 to play in the 4th quarter. Darrelle Revis. I want to start talking about Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Revis is going to be in that conversation, Rich.
I think he and Charles Woodson are really, I think, the front runners. They've both had great seasons, but this guy, he just continues to play at a very high level each week. And I think about some of the players that he's faced. We mentioned it earlier. Some of the best receivers in the game, T.O., Randy Moss, he has dominated them in one-on-one matchups.
2nd rushing touchdown of the game for Thomas Jones. 2nd interception for Josh Freeman. And Jay Feely kicks it off with Yamon Figures from the 9. Figures squeezes through a hole. Jets defense has held Tampa Bay to 65 total yards. Kellen Winslow with the catch out across the 40-yard line. And Donald Strickland with the hit. 2009 defensive MVP race. Some of the candidates in your eyes, Rich?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go up against any of these guys. Look at Jared Allen. He's been relentless in his pursuit of quarterbacks. We've seen Revis today, sharper up there, tops and interceptions. Of course, Charles Woodson, a very versatile corner in Green Bay. So, pretty good group of candidates there.
Catch made by Brian Clark, and that's a 1st down for Tampa Bay into Jets territory. Line of scrimmage will be the 44, 12-yard pass and catch. Darrelle Revis had an interception 10 days ago when the Jets knocked off Buffalo in Toronto.
When you have a corner like him, he can just kind of lock up on their best receiver, and it allows you to do so many different things defensively. I think it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of your coverage schemes, in terms of your pressures, and it's a great job in man-to-man coverage.
Freeman dials up a deep ball and incomplete. Jeremy Stevens, the tight end, was the intended receiver. Jim Leonard Another unheralded performer, came over from Baltimore, but he's been a big key for this Rex Ryan defense.
Yeah, they think about the influence that some of these Raven players have had. That they've had one at every level of their defense. Leonard, Bart Scott, Marcus Douglas up front there along that defensive line. So that was important for Rex in terms of putting this together. Have a player that was familiar with the scheme, communication on every level.
You know, I asked Darrell, actually I asked Bart Scott, what about Rex Ryan? Has anything changed? Is he dressing better now that he's a head coach? And that
Absolutely
was a quick answer.
not, he said.
No. Didn't even pause. He didn't even think about it. Freeman dropped the football for a moment, able to recover and make the connection to Brian Clark. Lito Shepard out there in coverage. Clock is moving, under 8 minutes to go now in this fourth quarter.
Boy, we've seen him fumble a snap under center. We've seen him fumble one in the shotgun. And that's just things that you take for granted. You can't take for granted in this league. You got to be smart. They have not looked sharp offensively.
Well, Jets stack the line. Tampa Bay trying to run on it with Cadillac Williams, and the Jets able to lock him down with Bart Scott among those leading the charge for New York.
Obviously, they'll go for it in this situation, down 26-3, and call your best play in this situation. Hope the protection holds up, and hope that your young quarterback can make a good, accurate throw.
What's their best play?
Right. I don't know. You got some press coverage on the outside. Why not go after one of those guys?
Pressure, and nearly a pick. Rivitz almost had his second.
Or the communication absolutely horrible. It was almost like Josh Freeman wasn't anticipating the snap in that situation.
Flag is thrown on the far end of the field. Jets are saying they will decline it. Now it's just a matter of the announcement from Carl Cheffers.
Illegal shift, offense. 2 players in motion prior to the snap. Did not become set. That penalty's declined. The ball goes over on downs. First down, Jets.
Pretty large contingent of Jets fans had made the trip here to Tampa and at the Jets hotel last night. A number of them, I think, assumed that you had played for the Jets because they were screaming your name. Hey, Rich, autograph. And I was going through your career numbers. I never saw you with the New York Jets. Give is to Thomas Jones, and Jones accelerating out across the 45-yard line. And remember how that relationship started between Brandon Marshall and Josh McDaniels, and now here we are late in the season, and he's had a terrific year. Brad Smith taking the snap and then zigzagging his way out across the 45, met by Kyle Moore. We come up on 6 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Matt Schaub, big numbers, 365 yards. He's the high man, week 14. Boy, Ray Rice, 166 yards on the ground. Charles also, Jamal Charles getting the opportunity with Kansas City, and Brandon Marshall, 20 catches for 193 yards and 2 scores.
He's a hard guy to tackle after the catch as well, Brandon Marshall.
Just a physical specimen. Jones with a spin move. That extra effort is not going to be enough for a first down. Tim Crowder helped make sure of it with Tenard Jackson. It was 3rd and 2 as Jones lost his footing, and the Jets will punt.
You know, I know the score doesn't reflect this at 26-3, but this Bucs defense, I mean, they've been on the field the entire day. They've actually played pretty good game. I mean, they give up the big run early. But other than that, they really hung in there, and they really were put in some bad spots. The problem that the Buccaneers have had today is just the offense has been so woefully inconsistent, particularly on 3rd down.
Steve Weatherford on to punt it. Yamon Figures will return it. Sammy Strutter, the rookie out of Oregon State, normally returns punts, but Strutter out in this game with a lower back injury. And a flag thrown, as it will be a touchback. Flag is back at the 38-yard line, and it's a hold. 52-yard punt. They might get Eric Smith on the hold, number 33.
Holding number 33 of the kicking team. That 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down, Tampa Bay.
Really was a big Jets fan. That's kind of weird considering I grew up in Philadelphia.
I know. How was that received?
Because the Eagles
locally
were really bad at the time. So
now
I had to cheer for some.
Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty.
Like Jeff Fisher, I just want to feel like a winner.
Yeah, Freeman over the middle to Jeremy Stevens, and it's incomplete. 2nd and 10 for Tampa Bay. 4:40 to go. All All right, let's take the Buccaneers side of things. You've now seen Josh Freeman in person. Obviously, this was not his best foot forward, so to speak. 9 of 25, 58 yards. Just some analysis, breaking down the film, and now what you've seen live.
When I go back to the first play of the game, I just don't know that he was really ready to play, and I think ball security has been a problem for this football team all year. I mean, they've turned it over a bunch, and you can't do that and expect to be in games, particularly against a defense like this.
Freeman slings it. And catch is made out across the 45-yard line by Antonio Bryant. Had big numbers last week. Bryant went for 116 yards, but the offensive numbers obviously have been nothing to write home about here today. 15-yard pickup through the air.
Yeah, Darrelle Revis has had a little something to do with that. You just see this lockup up top here, and that really has not been.
Freeman intercepted. Third pick of the day. And it's Kerry Rhodes with the INT for New York.
Well, you talk about being in the right place at the right time, and too deep coverage, and Josh Freeman gets greedy, tries to stick one in, and Kerry Rhodes is right there to make the easy interception.
Third interception of the season for Rhodes.
Yeah, you're going to see Rhodes right here. He's just going to start working over the top right there and puts a little too much air on it, and you got good coverage underneath, trailing by Lito Shepherd, and this is a very difficult ball to try and stick in. Good athleticism right there by Kerry Rhodes. Boy, does he have some jumps.
What did Rex Ryan say about him? He said he is a guy that has rare ability, length, athleticism, ball skills. But the flip side of that, he still wants to see more. Hand off to Thomas Jones. Jones trying to get to 100 yards. He's at 94. Just about everybody there defensively for Tampa Bay. Kerry Rhodes started the first 74 games of his career. Came out of Louisville as a 4th-round pick in 2005. And some guys just don't know how to handle a benching.
Well, my sense is that I think, as we talked earlier about Rex trying to send the Mets, I think it's attention to detail, doing all the little things it takes as a player in this defense and in this scheme to really succeed. And I think that maybe he wasn't tied down as much.
He's been a good player defensively for this team prior to Rex Ryan being here. And the question is, what does it mean for the future? Handoff to Jones, leaves his feet, and hit at the 28-yard line, a 3-yard gain.
Well, they ask a lot from that position in this defense, the free safety position, not only in terms of coverage, but in terms of run support. There's a lot of communication that goes on back there, and you need to be in the right position in this defense or you can give up some big plays. When you look at this defense, that's one thing that they don't do. I mean, they've been a very scheme-oriented defense. They make you work for it. They don't give up a lot of big plays. Just 25 plays of 20 yards or more. That's second best in the NFL.
San Diego and Dallas still to come. Great matchup here on CBS. Play clock winding down. Go conservative, of course. And it's going to be well short of a first down. Flag comes down late, a couple of them. As Thomas Jones carries to the 31-yard line. Jones with 97 yards rushing. Carl Cheffers.
After the play was over, unnecessary roughness. Number 17 of the offense. That foul will be measured half the distance to the goal. 4th down.
Braylon Edwards and Aqib Talib having a long conversation as Edwards was called on this penalty for the smack on Sabi Piscatelli, the safety.
And what they tell us last night, he said, if you want to be a wide receiver, you must be willing to block in the running game. And I think that's how you earn your receptions in this offense. And that's something good to see by Braylon Edwards. You got to be smart, though. But, boy, the effort is certainly there.
Now, Rex Ryan had a message for Braylon Edwards as he came off. Steve Weatherford will punt it.
Well, they've had a couple personal fouls on both sides of the ball now. Very uncharacteristic. And something that Rex Ryan is not going to be happy about when he looks at the film on Monday.
Yamon Figures standing at his own 43-yard line. High punt from Weatherford. Figures returnable at the 39. And he's got some room. Forced out of bounds as he crossed into Jet territory at the 49-yard line, a 47-yard punt and a 12-yard return for the former Baltimore Raven and Detroit Lion, Yamon Figures. 2:23 left on the clock. The formula worked for the Jets here today.
Yeah, good defense. They ran the ball well. They took care of the football. They created turnovers. That's how you win in the National Football League.
The Miami Dolphins have defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Dolphins improved to 7-6. Remember, they have the tiebreak over the Jets because of the head-to-head meetings. 2-0 for Miami. Williams in the backfield. Make it Derek Ward. And Freeman from the gun. Little flip out for Ward. And he's brought down out across the 45-yard line. Clock is moving. Down to 2:10 remaining. Looks like we'll hit the 2-minute warning here for Tampa Bay, trailing 26-3. Kellen Clemens getting the start today for the injured Mark Sanchez, a sprained PCL. Right knee for Sanchez. Previous game, he had banged up his left knee. Sanchez back in New Jersey. And the hope is that he will be ready to go for the matchup with the Falcons next week. Quick toss to Kellen Winslow. That falls forward at the 40-yard line, hit by Kerry Rhodes.
You know, the one thing that really jumps out at me when I look at this Jets defense, they tackle well. They take good angles to the ball. They get a bunch of bodies there. They game tackle, but they tackle well, particularly in that secondary.
Freeman in some trouble. Out of the pocket, throwing on a comebacker. And it's complete to Maurice Stovall. So the Jets to 7-6 on the season, and they are officially in that category in the hunt. Miami now has taken the wild card lead because of their win over Jacksonville, and Denver currently at 8-4. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and Houston still in the mix. On a 2nd and 6 now for the Buccaneers. Down to 1:26 left. Freeman throwing on the move and out of bounds. Pressure from Sean Ellis, and now give some credit to Ellis and the kind of season he's having in this 3-4 set. Bart Scott, when we asked him, has there been anyone that surprised you on this defense? He said, look, I knew Darrelle Revis was good. I didn't know Sean Ellis was this good. And Bart has a way with words. This is how he described Ellis. He plays like his hair is on fire.
I like that description. He really has. I mean, you know, look at that helmet. Look at the top of his helmet, all those nicks on there, and he plays the run. He shows up in the passing game. He gets pressure on the quarterback, sacks, becoming a complete player in this defense.
On 3rd down, Freeman, and the hit by Bart Scott against the Notre Dame product, Maurice Stovall. See where they spot the football. They had to get to the 28-yard line.
I think Bart Scott hit him so hard he hurt himself. He got a stinger.
Now Scott making his way over the Jets sideline.
He has too much pride to let any of the Buccaneers see that.
Call it 4th and a yard now with 50 seconds to play.
This will be a quick throw right here. I heard the call.
And flags come down. It was True Blood on the right side of the Tampa Bay line. We saw movement on the left side of the Jets defensive line.
You look at the penalties, you look at the turnovers, you look at the inconsistent play on 3rd down. I mean, just not a good day for this Bucs offense.
You're looking at a 1-12 record.
124 total yards of offense. Hard to do that.
False start, number 85, offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down. To avoid a 10-second runoff, Tampa Bay is using their 3rd and final charge timeout, a 30-second timeout.
And Bart Scott appears to be okay. Calling it on Maurice Stovall.
You know what's amazing? Obviously, you think about the foundation that was in place in here with John Gruden. I mean, you know, they bring 9 of 11 starters back from last year, and I just think there was a mistake in the offseason to completely change the philosophy, the terminology, the verbiage of this offense. And you know, when Greg Olson took over, he thought about going back, you know, right before the season. And in hindsight, he said, if I had to do it all over again, I would have. But there was a great foundation in place here in terms of this system, and it's a shame to see what's happened in a matter of 6 months.
Well, they made the decision after the year, after the 4-game losing streak. Now, the question is, looking back on it, were they doing it with smoke and mirrors? Were they a legitimate 9-3 football team with dreams of making another Super Bowl run?
I go back to what happened on defense last year. I mean, they lost 4 of the, as you said, 4 games in a row at the end there, and they gave up 800 yards of on the ground running when Monty Kiffin announced that he'd be leaving early to join his son up there at Tennessee. I thought that the team never recovered from that announcement.
So the breakdown defensively just set this domino effect in play for the Buccaneers. On an out route, Brian Clark could not bring it in, the former Denver Bronco. And again, words being exchanged and a little bit more as Jeff Fain lost his helmet. Sean Ellis was in the fray. Only 36 seconds remain in this game. Derek Ward drafted by the Jets.
Well, it's been a frustrating day for this offense. You can see it here coming out here late in the game.
Got a good one coming up. San Diego at Dallas here on CBS. Can the Cowboys change their fortunes in the month of December? A lot of pressure on Tony Romo in particular.
Well, he's played very good football in the month of November the last couple of years, but we need to see it out of him in December. That's where they have struggled as a group.
The Jets take over on downs, and that will do it. The New York Jets make it 3 wins in a row and trying to go on a playoff run in the month of December. They come into Tampa and knock off the Buccaneers 26-3.